Hello, and welcome to Shelby Speaks, the concurrency of our classrooms. I'm Adam Watson, the Digital Learning Coordinator here at Shelby County Public Schools. The word concurrency in our vodcast title reflects the reality of many of our classrooms this school year. Classrooms that are a hybrid of students in person and students at home, often being facilitated by a teacher simultaneously. But it is also an intentional nod to the idea of metaphorical currency in our instruction. In the spring of 2020, our educators were forced to pedagogically invest in new innovative strategies to effectively teach in an emergency distance learning environment. As spring became fall, we faced new challenges, and we are thankful for our spring 2020 investment in growing our learning. Our teachers are spending and trading the pedagogical capital built last school year in order to innovate and collaborate even further this school year. Part of that collaboration involved the creation of a district Concurrent Classroom Google Doc full of tips, resources, and videos where educators shared with each other how to navigate through our common challenges. It is selections from these videos that we are highlighting in our latest vodcast series. In this episode, Ashley Fishback, a science teacher at Shelby County High School, discusses in a screencast how she sets up her hardware, organizes her student groups, and implements strategies for effective whole class discussion.
Hey guys, for those that don't know me, I am Ashley Fishback and I teach biomedical science here at Shelby County High School. I was asked just to talk for a moment about utilizing group work and presentations with hybrid learning and kind of some things I've learned with doing group work in my classroom. We do a lot of group work. We do a lot of presentations, especially now that we have a little bit of extra time. And so I think it's really important for us to just continue having students work together in groups, even digitally. And there's a lot of tools we can use for that. So a couple of my tips for group setup, I mix at home and at school students, if that's a possibility. So for example, with my freshmen, when they did a group project, I assigned them groups, and then I did put one at-home student in each group, so that way it was kind of even. But that way, those kids who are at school can help the at-home kid keep accountable, and that at-home kid can ask questions through the students who are at school. So if they have a question, they can, if they feel more comfortable that way, they can communicate that with their at-school peers, and then they can ask me that question. The way that this works through the classroom is I have them kind of have a brainstorm group Google Doc that they can put all of their ideas on, especially when we're doing parts, but they can also ask each other questions or communicate with each other through the comments. So not only can they communicate on the document itself, but they can make comments on each other's work and ask clarifying questions. This also helps the at-school students communicate, I help the at-school students communicate with the at-home students as well. So let's say that like Johnny is not on the Google Doc. Well, the kids who are at school will be like, where's Johnny? And kind of help keep him accountable. And then I can communicate with Johnny, either have a remind text set up or through the chat in the Google Meet. Hey, Johnny, where are you? Your group's looking for you to help out. And that usually really helps keep them accountable as well, and using that class time wisely. So some technology that I use in my classroom to kind of help facilitate this, one of the first things is I do have dual screens up so I can present on one screen and then have my laptop has my camera for the Google Meet. And so that way I can see what I'm presenting. The kids who are here can see what I'm presenting. The kids online can see what I'm presenting, but I also can kind of keep an eye on the chat as well. And so that's super helpful. Also, I have this Bluetooth mouse and keyboard, thanks to Scott Seaman for finding a good brand for me. But this has been really helpful so that I can kind of have some distance. I can move a little bit, not too much, but still have control over my computer and over what's presented. So that's been some helpful technology. The monitor I got for $10 at a yard sale. So not too expensive stuff. Remind text messaging I use, so like if a student, cause I don't know about y'all, sometimes my classrooms are really quiet and a student feels awkward if they're asking me a question. We're still pretty early in the year. And so they can always text me a question and I can text back. Or if a student's at home and they have a question that they need me to answer, that's one way, as well as the chat is also a really good way for students to ask questions and interact with each other. checkpoint responses. So if they're at home, one of the things I'll do, and if I ask kids a thing here, and if they're here, if we do a scale, I'll have them do like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But if they're at home, they can put it in the chat, and that just shows that like, oh, you are listening, you're paying attention, kind of checkpoint stuff, or yes or no, like put a yes if you're getting this, put a no if you're not, just as a quick check in the chat to make sure that they're awake and they don't have me on mute at home. So I have had students present work here at school who are at home. And the way we do that is through Google Meet, which is really cool because you can see the student's face and then their presentation. So they share their screen and they have presented through Google Meet. And that's been really successful. And I think they feel a little bit more chill about it because they're like at home. Video is another way. So for the freshman project, they had to create a video, and they could either video themselves at home if they're at-home students, and then edit the video together so that they had one kind of continuous video. Or I had some that weren't really comfortable with editing video, and so I said you could do a Google slide and share that Google slide and then put your piece of the video in different slides. And so that was another way that they could still contribute to the group and still be a part of the presentation without necessarily being here in person.